Okay, welcome to the Lead Generation Activities Unit. I hope you are all good. I plan on making this a fairly shorter one, but they're my famous last words. I seem to say that and go on a bit of a tangent, but hopefully this is a shorter one because I'm just going to go through lead generation activities that can start to form your processes, which is the next video that you'll watch on the webinar. So essentially, looking at lead generation activities and kind of breaking it down into in our world and our language, I think sometimes, as I've covered in one of the previous webinars, we can get a bit anxious and view this as a way to directly sell to people instead of support and gather information. So just to set the record straight from the very start, lead generation activities are simply an excuse to talk to people, gather information and help solve their problems whilst driving up the value in you and your business. Again, a lot of personal trainers need to manage their expectations when it comes to this. It seems that when a lot of PTs do a certain lead generation activity and they don't get a sale from it, they view it as, oh, this doesn't work and this shouldn't be a process. I should just wait for clients to come to me and so on. Basically, what would you turn around to your clients say if they tried to apply a new diet into their life or a deficit into their life or a new training program? They've tried it for a week and not got the results they want. It's exactly the same type of mindset. So what I will say is that you need to understand that the market you're trying to attract or have a clue of who you're trying to attract, because then therefore that will shape the lead generation activities that you do online and offline. The majority of this unit solely goes through offline lead generation, plainly because you've got 5,000 members in and around about in your gyms on a daily basis that want and need your help. It's much easier to support, serve, drive value up in you, get people to understand you and bring people into your business from the gym floor than it actually is online. It'll take you more time online. It's a lot more difficult to connect with people online on a personal level. It's a lot more difficult to trigger people because they're only seeing it in black and white in a sense of your video, your content and so on. They don't really know the real you at times. And I'm generalizing when I say that, but essentially what I'm trying to get at is you've got so much opportunity on your gym floors that we just seem to forget about that now. And that's plainly because going out there on the gym floor and speaking to people, for some personal trainers, that's really uncomfortable. And you avoid it as much as you possibly can, where if you were to wanting to grow and scale your business to online training, small group training, you want to move on to rent at some point, you want to open your own PT studio, your own gym at some point, you're going to have to take marketing into your own hands. And this is where the lead generation activities come in handy. Like I said before, it completely depends on the market you're trying to attract as to which one of these, what I'm going to show you in a minute, are going to be relevant for them. I've put 30 to 40 different examples up here. I would probably pick one or two, get really good at them, practice them on a regular basis, be as consistent as possible, track them like mad. But I'll go into some considerations at the end that a lot of PTs also forget. So let's jump into the lead generation activities. I'll give a little bit of context behind each one, but a lot of them are pretty much common sense, I suppose. So everything you see in here in green is offline and the orange is online. Now, all of this can be tracked and measured. And what we're looking at, as I said on one of the previous units, is lead generation is essentially building trust, value in you and your business and gaining some form of contact details off the back of it. That you can then continuously support, serve, market to, and so on. So what you've got here, first column on the left-hand side, you've got meet and greet. Touring potential new members is definitely a really decent lead generation activity to do to get to know people. Off the back of that, questionnaires, surveys, raffles. Like, I remember a personal trainer saying to me once that he got like 70 to 80 leads from doing a raffle in a week. And I kind of laughed and thought, right, I didn't get into this personal training industry to do raffles on the gym floor. And he kept repeating that, and it was his only lead generation activity. But then that got him then people in his network. It works so well. It has to have a high perceived value to it. So it might be like a month's personal training. It might be support with nutrition. It might be, I don't know, t-shirts or whatever that may be. But it brings in a volume of leads. Now, if you have got to the target marketing section yet, that the volume of leads needs to be an audience that you can speak to and that you can trigger. It shouldn't really be anyone and everyone that you do a raffle with, for example. It should just be the market you're trying to attract. So therefore that you can speak their language at every single point afterwards, whether that be offline or online. Different competitions that you could do. So it could be like guess the weight competitions where you put some kettlebells and some kit in a corner and you give them 10 seconds to turn around and guess the weight. It could be that how many ping pong balls are in a jar. Like, I've seen such a soft approach from some personal trainers work so well, because it takes the pressure off the members having to, I suppose, do something like a challenge or like have a fear of being judged because you've asked them to do, like, I don't know, as many burpees as you can in a minute, where, let's be real, most people will shy away from doing something like that in a general population gym. So different competitions work really well, and that can work well online and offline. We'll talk about that in a bit. Health checks are a fantastic lead generation activity. It gives you an opportunity to really get to know someone. If they're willing to let you weigh them, talk about their current activity levels, you've got their height, weight, you've got, like I've just said, current activity levels. So then you can start to look at, off the back of just doing health checks, you can probably work out their calories for them and then set them up on MyFitnessPal, for example, there and then. And that's huge. That's going to drive the value in you so much. And people will probably start to see, after a week or two of tracking their nutrition, them start to drop a little bit of weight, and they'll hold a lot. They'll basically forget about anything they've tried in the past that they've struggled with, plainly because you've given them something of value that can grab and use and apply into their life and get results from. So it's only going to help you to gradually convert them into your business over time. Then we're on the second row now. So giving away programs on the gym floor, generic programs work fantastically well. Giving them away in classes. It might be that they've done a questionnaire or a survey, and off the back of that, you give away programs as an incentive to do it. Food diary giveaways, I've mentioned this in previous webinars that we've done, are absolutely fantastic to start to see current behaviors, their relationship with food, the trends that they have in their average week. So then when you do bring them into your business, you've already got a track of where they're currently at, and you can really support them on what calories they're currently consuming compared to what they need to be consuming, and why probably they're a little bit conflicted, frustrated, and everything else when it comes to nutrition. You can start to add value and solve that. The next box, recipes, like godsend for a lot of people. What you'll find is you probably need to, on something like that, is the demographic. If it's, for example, a corporate person, you're working in a corporate gym, fast meals work well, meals that they could potentially batch cook and save for work throughout the week. It could be family recipes that you give away, so mum isn't cooking 3 or 4 meals at night when she's on this new healthy regime that she's doing, and so on. Gym floor fast classes, like one of the best tools I used to use was grabbing people off the cardio machines, not physically grabbing them off, but you know what I mean. Talking to them, interacting with them, and then just explaining that I'm doing a 15 to 20 minute AMRAP, EMOM, fast class HIIT session, whatever you want to call it, over in the corner, and it's probably going to be a little bit more effective than that steady state that they're currently doing. You probably say it in a less direct way, but you get where I'm going with that. They're really, really good, and you can take contact details from that. Stretching stations are great. Sometimes I used to get the guys who finish my class or any other classes coming out and do a bit of stretching, mobility, show them how to use a foam roller, all of that type of stuff. That works really well. It's a really good, valuable service that you can deliver that people will hold you in high regard for. You might look at it and think a lot of people won't want that, but you just don't know what they're going through in a sense of a bit of pain after classes. They might be a new member to the gym currently, and they're aching like mad after every class. So this might be welcomed to show them some alternatives. It might be that you give them a handout off the back of it of what you've covered. You could do a core or ab station. At the end of the day, it's a trigger point for a lot of people. So if you were doing, let's say you wasn't waiting for the classes to teach, I mean, you're doing something like core and ab stations on the gym floor every hour on the hour for 15 to 20 minutes. Like, it's only going to help drive value up in you. You can take contact details and so on. Next box down, glute station. Again, female demographic, I'm generalizing here, but female demographic, a real big target area right now for most people. So you could be doing some activation work in the corner, you could of the gym, you could be setting up a couple of bars and showing how to perform a hip thrust properly because you see that wrong so much, and then giving them handouts, access to social media and stuff like that afterwards. Then you've got HIIT stations, home workouts, technique correction, charity events. Like, charity events are really, really good to raise the profile of you in the gym, to get people obviously creating awareness of whatever charity you're doing, donating, but also getting them to get to know you, seeing it's a great cause, but more so you might get members taking part with you. It's a really good opportunity to generate leads and build trust, value in you, and so on. You teach a hell of a lot of classes a week, so going in there with handouts of some of the stuff that we've just talked about already, so programs, food diaries, questionnaires, surveys, anything that you're currently doing on this kind of marketing campaign that you're going through. One thing that I think we overlook sometimes is a lot of personal trainers spend so much time on social media these days, and they create so much great content that a lot of the gym members that they have in the gym on a daily basis don't actually get access to that because they're not on your page or in your group or whatever it may be. Print some of that stuff off that you're doing, like whether it's the graphic and the context behind it, and hand that out on the gym floor, because people will obviously like really welcome the support of that, and then pass them your page so you can start to drive traffic to your page. Specific inductions, so like obviously you want to fill the inductions that you do in the hours that you do for on shift as a PTFC, but you really want to drive as many bums on seats there as possible, because your inductions are a great touch point for new members, and if that's the market that you want to attract, then it's just perfect for you. And also, if you're not delivering inductions, so for example, if you're not on shift or you're a rent PT, again, fantastic to keep in contact with new members is to start to slot in your own inductions and book your own times in, and start to advertise them. You might want to call them mini workshops instead of inductions, or whatever that may be. The next one under that is topical workshops, so things like learn to lift. It might be things like a group training workshop, depending on which way you want to take your business. It might be an introduction to, I don't know, like resistance training, all of that type of stuff that we've just touched on. Specific seminars at the top, that might be a fat loss seminar. You might really label it that triggers your market, like, I don't know, how to build your own diet. So a seminar of how to build your own diet plan, because everyone wants that kind of low-hanging fruit of a diet plan and to be told what to do, but it would be great for them to build it from their preferences. So you might do something like that. It might be a seminar on how to create a calorie deficit, whatever it is. PT open days work well. One thing that's working well for a lot of PTs at the minute is taking that PT help point and making a bit of a calorie point on the gym floor. So they're working out people's calories for free off the back of a health check. Superb way to do it. You're not forgetting your local demographic in and around your gym, so creating your own wellness days, getting people to literally dominate the area surrounding the gym. Like I talk about on the business courses a lot about, if you want to grow your social media, you should be looking inside the gym first. So into your business demographic, which is all of this, what you're doing now, lead generation, getting to know people, building relationships, growing your social media from there. Once you've got really, really good at that and filling your social media page with just the people that are in your gym, then you grow locally, which is when you go in and set up wellness days, go and do seminars, workshops, maybe take a class in an office block. It's hugely valuable to people, especially these days. Class loyalty cards are great. People can stamp, and if they get 5, for example, they're attending 5-year classes, they get an opportunity to get a program, food diary, a free consultation, all of that type of stuff. Everyone loves a bit of pad work, so you might work in a corporate. This used to be a really good lead generation tool for me. Corporate area, I used to set up on the hour every hour for everyone coming in at peak time who just wanted to warm up on the pads, and I used to have a queue of people, 10 minutes, and they just do a bit of pad work, and it was right in the center of the gym, so people noticed me, and I just got their details basically. On the spot group sessions, so it might be similar to what I talked about before, the fast classes, but it might be that you start to market and advertise them. So there's tons of lead generation activities. We're moving on to the online side of it now. So you could do an online survey, online questionnaire, very similar to the gym floor ones, that maybe it's a link in your bio and stuff like that, or you get people to fill an online survey questionnaire off the back of doing market research. And if they do that, they got an opportunity to do a consultation, program, food diary, you'll work the calories out, they'll get your ebook, whatever it may be. An online program giveaway, I've just touched on that. Something that's really huge at the minute is creating daily and weekly emails of topical content that triggers and relates to your market. So that type of stuff. A weekly newsletter is also great, that might have certain things in there like top tips for fat loss, maybe a recipe, your exercise of the week, and an opportunity to download a free program. A time cap challenge. So this is quite big on social media at the minute, in the sense of a 7-day or a 14-day or a 30-day fat loss challenge, and it's free, but it's an opportunity to drive traffic to you. So you get as many people as possible in that. You support them from a nutritional perspective. They start to drop out weight. You keep them in your network, but convert 1, 2, 3, 4 of them, and so on. Genuinely, just your social media page, what that does for you, what does it say about you? Does it talk to your market? That will really support you with online lead generation. And then off the back of that page, maybe you do like referral competitions, like if people like and share your page, it gets put in a draw, they get put in a draw to win something of a high perceived value. So hopefully that gives you some context behind some of them points that I've just said. Now, it's just some last considerations on this. So this is the stuff that I feel that a lot of personal trainers forget about when they set up a lead generation activity. It's they kind of like, they start to think, right, well, this is really uncomfortable. I'm going to go out on the gym floor and do it, and then forget all the stuff that could have made it so much better. So certain questions I want to throw at you, and you can answer them kind of written down, stuff like that, just to help you prep for the next time you do lead generation. So what do you need to prepare to set the lead generation activity up? Do you need to prepare handouts and so on? When and where is it going to happen? What handouts do you need? When are you going to print them off? Do you need to create them? Do you need to make them? What are they going to look like? Is it just going to be a shabby Word document? Are you going to put some logos on it and put some color to it? How are you going to collate the contact information? Are you going to have an interaction log, a lead generation tracker? What's that going to look like? Just a consideration here that you need to manage your expectations. You're basically there to support initially, not to sell. So just because you've gone out there and been really uncomfortable and done this lead generation activity doesn't mean you can then should book in as many consultations as possible. You should be trying to build relationships and build an understanding of someone before you bring them into your business. Therefore, you shouldn't want that transition into a consultation straight away. So manage your expectations. My next point kind of flows into this as well. Be as consistent as you would expect your clients to be with the process. I've mentioned it before. You can't do a lead generation activity on the gym floor and say do it for a week and you've only got 2 or 3 leads and think to yourself, well, it's rubbish. I'm not doing this lead generation anymore. It's not working. It's like your clients turning around and saying your diet or the program's not working for them. It needs consistency. Consistency will bring levels of confidence for you. Therefore, once you're confident with it, you'll get more competent and therefore you get better results with it. And just make sure it's right for your market as well. How are you going to communicate what happens after the lead generation activity? So how are you going to nurture these leads to stay in your network and keep supporting them? What are you going to communicate next? Is it that once they've done the questionnaire, the survey, the program, the food diary, they get 7 daily emails from you on 7 daily tips for fat loss? I don't know. It's entirely up to you. When are you going to communicate that? Sorry, I've just touched on that. Have you considered GDPR? So thinking about making sure that on your forms and everything you put on, that it gives them an opportunity to sign or tick to say that you can email them and so on. How are you going to track the success of this? So lead generation tracker, you should have watched that unit by now, but if you haven't, just make sure you watch it after this because it'll give you some clarity on that. And my last point, will you give yourself a time to review the success and act on it? So when are you going to sit down? Are you going to review it weekly? This is the number of leads I've got, the amount of leads I've brought into a consult to client. How are you going to review the success of, say, your health checks, your programs, your workshop, your seminar? Make sure you give yourself time on your business to do that. That's lead generation activities kind of wrapped up. Hopefully it's give you lots of ideas. You relate them ideas back to your market and you apply them in the times that you want to fill. You absolutely hold yourself accountable. And one thing I will say is if you need support with that, that's what the manager's for in club. So if you want them to hold you accountable, them to help, support, lead, you've got an opportunity to reach into them to ask for a little bit of support if you want that. And hopefully they'll be there to help you with that. That's lead generation activities. As always, any questions on this unit, post them in the Facebook group and we'll get back to you straight away. Thanks a lot, guys.